Hello, I am Scarlet Spades, and I just want to talk a little bit about my worldview. And so, what do I mean by worldview? Well, I don't mean world truth. I mean my own personal, subjective interpretation of the world. So I'm not here to say I'm right and you're wrong in any way. I'm here to practice my communication skills and my articulation, which are things I need to work on. And I'm also curious to see if anything I say here can be correlated to my MBTI type and or my Enneagram type. Alright, so what consists a worldview? Interests, values, beliefs, opinions, thoughts, feelings, any number of those things and more. But the overarching thing that connects all of these things is subjectivity. And I'm here to talk from my subjective point of view. I don't have the universal objective truth, and nobody does. And so we experience this world from our own views. And we have this idea of ourselves. We have a brain that has memories from our past, has goals for the future, and this creates a very linear interpretation of time. And we feel like we're moving through this time, or time is moving forward, whichever you like, and that we are these individuals, and we have a life, and we have an ego that distinguishes this, and that's fine. I'm going to speak from this perspective. So everything's changing, everything's flowing. The same can be said about my interests and beliefs and views, right? I don't believe anything, and I don't disbelieve anything in particular. I have things that I lean towards because they're more useful, or they make more sense, or whatever, but everything is changing, everything's subject to change. Give me more data, more information, and I change. My beliefs change. Nothing is absolute. And so this also applies to morals, I think, because I have no way of proving or disproving of any objective morals, and I don't believe there are any. And so I do what makes most sense to me, which is the least harm for the least number of people. And that might be, difficult to measure, but at least it gives some sort of framework that I base decisions on. And this gives me a sense of freedom, that I don't have things that I should be doing, or things that are good or bad or right or wrong. It's really how I perceive it. Everything is neutral, and if I perceive something as being right and somebody else says no, that hurt me, then I'll stop. I'm open to new data. I'm open to new interpretations, and I don't mean to be selfish. If I'm stepping all over somebody else's life, then they should let me know. And the whole purpose of my life really is, that I've defined myself, is to be aware, to be as conscious as I possibly can of any external stimulus and any biological or internal stimulus. And so that gives me, I'm an observer, essentially. I I observe things as they happen. That includes thoughts and feelings. I'm not thinking thoughts or feeling things. They're really a neurochemical action in my brain, and I'm just, whatever this connecting self that I have is really observing these things. And so in order to maintain this self, I have to act, and I basically act based on what makes, a very utilitarian approach. What works, what doesn't work, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense, what's important to me, and what I can discard. And it's really a matter of changing and adapting and acting on what works in certain situations, not what you ought to do in certain situations. And so these thoughts and feelings, I try to have no attachment to. They can be interesting, of course, and that is a completely different matter. My interests are what drive me in life, really. There's no on a very low level, my biology wants me to survive, and I'm aware of this, but on a higher framework, everything is frameworks here. I'm driven by my interests and what I want to take from the present and do in the future and use in the future, right? So, everything that I'm experiencing, it's all an experience, and it's all happening to me right now. And summing up, on top of all those things that have ever happened to me, so I'm constantly changing. I do not believe, in any sense of the word, that we are static individuals. We're constantly interacting with our environment and with ourselves. And so anything that I was in the past, anything that I was 5 minutes ago, I am not the same person right now. I'm not the same person in 5 seconds. And, it's pretty straightforward. You go to a class, you learn something, you come out, your brain's not the same. Your brain has new data, new information. And that's how life goes. I have absolutely no reason whatsoever to hold on to fears and anxieties and past issues, because they're done and over with. I can only use what I have now. And so this whole thing is really comes down to my physical biology, my DNA, and all that information that is being utilized. And it's really, all my predispositions are based off of chance, really. And I appreciate, I can understand that certain people have disorders or what have you, and that's fine, but, you really got to take what you have and use it, make the most of it, that, as cliche as it sounds. It's really what works for me and what I strive for, and I personally strive for self-awareness. I practice meditation, and I'm very introspective, and I love to talk about ideas and take in as many ideas as possible and just be fascinated, just, sit and experience everything as deeply as I possibly can. And, my biggest issue is this whole, constant fight against biology, but it's not really a fight. I'm not a mind in a vacuum. I am my body. And so I think it's of utmost importance to take care of my body, and so that what I perceive as myself can function to my full potential. And, you know, if I don't get enough sleep, I'm cranky. If I have caffeine for a few days and then I stop, I'm cranky. You know, we're governed by our neurochemistry, our biology, and our DNA, but we have this so-called conscious power to change those things. And so why not? Why be stuck in the worries and the should've, could've, can't ever? No. What can you do right now is what's most important to me. Alright, so again, as long as my personal view is self-consistent, it doesn't have to be true in an absolute sense, but I want to gain more information and expand my view. I want to be more aware of the thoughts that are happening in my mind and which ones I can just throw away and I don't need, and which feelings are, you know, what are they stemming from, and does it make sense? Does it make sense for me to latch onto them, right? That's really how I function. And because I have this perception of time, and because I have an ego and a consciousness, I have goals, and my entire foundation is really based off of improvement and change and growth. You know, not staying as is. That doesn't feel natural to me. And so I'm insanely curious and inquisitive, and I love to learn about things, but I don't like to judge them, you know, as being absolute rubbish. And I don't know, I have a problem, you know, if I don't agree with somebody about something, I don't feel the need to correct them. I have maybe a personal resentment for a while, but it's really just everybody's free to believe what they want, and as long as they're not stepping all over my beliefs, then everything's fine. And that's my personal spirituality, and I don't care if that's associated with, you know, that word is associated with paranormal or unprovable things. I don't care. To me, it's very personal, very practical in a way, and it's all about understanding myself on the deepest levels possible, and how I interplay with my environment and with the world, and understanding that as deeply as possible is what I consider important. And so, you know, we have this power to learn things from within. You know, I close my eyes, I turn on some music, I feel all these ecstatic expressions, and then, you know, suddenly I realize something, and that's really what I live for. This whole self-discovery and discovery in general. And really, I have this great sense of self-respect and self-acceptance, and it would be wonderful if everybody else had that, but, you know, it's their choice. It's your choice, your worldview. I have no reason whatsoever to tell you what to do, and so I don't. I'm just here to live and experience life in my own way. And yeah, I probably missed a bunch of things, but that's all I'll say for now. Thanks for listening. Peace.